I'm Melissa and welcome to Oh My Word, Melly. So today I'm back with another video and I'm going to talk about my April reads. In April, I actually had planned to read 8 books which were 4 fantasy duologies. Y'all can click up here to see what are these fantasy duologies I am talking about, but sadly with my work and all that I was able to only read 6 books. So that is 3 of the 4 duologies. And guys, I can't wait to tell y'all how the reading went and what my thoughts were on those duologies, because I can't even believe that I only read fantasy for a month. Like, no romance whatsoever. Like, there were romance elements in the books, but like it wasn't a romance read. I just can't even fathom that I saw a month through with that. But yes, so without further ado, let's see what these books were and what my thoughts were on them as well. So I started off the month reading the 6 Crimson Cranes duology by Elizabeth Lim. So that is the 6 Crimson Cranes and the Dragon's Promise. And guys, just as much as both of these books have beautiful covers, I absolutely enjoyed the 2 books, irrespective of what other people say. Like, if you watched my last week's video, if you still haven't, you can click up here where we see the 1-star ratings for different books, and I just talk about 6 Crimson Cranes in that as well. Irrespective of what people say, I absolutely enjoy this duology. That's how I'm going to start this. I absolutely would recommend it to everyone as well. I loved the simplicity of the writing. Like, it was very simple, very straightforward. So if y'all expecting to have like guessing games and all that, that definitely is going to disappoint her, because it's very straightforward. But nevertheless, I loved it. I loved how the story flowed through in both books. It was definitely fast paced. Each book you can finish it in like one sitting or one day. Absolutely amazing writing. I won't say there is much world building because I did not notice it, but I just love the book. Like, since I started reading it, I was hooked, I was intrigued, I was trying to see how it's flowing. Absolutely loved it. Like, I can't even begin to say how much I loved it. So the first book I gave it a 4.75 star rating, and the second book I gave it a 4-star rating. There were some elements that I did not like, therefore it was not a 5-star read for me. Both books are in single POV of a princess called Shiori, so from her point of view. I loved how the plot progressed from one book to the other, and like the second book started exactly where it stopped in the book first book. So it's like you don't have like missing areas or like needing a recap or whatever. It just starts straight off, so y'all can read both books together. That would be like this full-on experience of reading the books. So talking about characters, I did not personally connect with any character. I liked Takan, one of the betrothed of this Princess Shiori, whereas the protagonist of Shiori was a 16-year-old who was very stubborn and naive, and to a point where you think she's acting like a petulant child, especially in book 1. Book 2, there is more character development, but I still found Shiori a bit annoying. But I loved the family bonds that they depict, like between Shiori and the brothers. Then towards the second book, Shiori and the stepmother, Shiori and the father, then Takan and Takan's family, Takan's sister especially. I loved the bonds characters had. It was really amazing. But I did not connect to one or two particular characters. Like, I connected to the story, and the story is what I liked. And also this book has like forbidden magic, and like magic that like that's your birthright, and but it's forbidden in this land, but other lands have accepted it. And this girl as a princess having hidden magic and how to deal with that when everyone is against magic. all that is there, and then arranged marriages and evil stepmothers, curses, and this is like an Asian mythology retelling. I just absolutely loved, and shape-shifting dragons and dragon realms and demons and good magic, bad magic, and all that. I love those aspects, and those are stuff I like in books, so definitely loved it. And again, royalty, obviously this revolves around the royal family and like adjoining kingdoms and like trying to give him marriage across the kingdoms to build relationships. I love aspects like that in books. This made me want to read more and more of Asian mythologies, Asian retellings, and like, it touches upon Imurunia. I can't remember how do you pronounce that name, but like the moon goddess, and like so many tales of the moon goddess that I even want to read the Daughter of the Moon Goddess book as well. And I absolutely was intrigued. I just couldn't put both books down, that as soon as book 1 finished, I wanted book 2 to start. Like, I wanted, if I had to like read it before book 2 was released, I think I would have gone nuts waiting for it. And in book 2, I thought there were more suspense, more things happening, like more events, and as well as better character development compared to book 1. But still, book 1 just was a tad bit better for me than book 2. And there is this quote, okay, in book 1, and that is, "Find the light that makes your lantern shine, hold on to it, even when the darkness surrounds you. Not even the strongest wind will blow out the flame." I absolutely loved that quote from the book to a point that I wanted to mention it in this video. I love the plot twist in both books. Like, first book, you think you see it coming, but when it comes, the way the plot twist happens, like, it's mesmerizing. I loved all the plot twists in book 2 as well. And if you want to know about the ending, which I'm not going to tell you all about, but I can just tell you it's a happy and sad ending. You will not know how, if you want to be entirely happy or entirely sad, but it's a beautiful ending. So definitely check out this duology. I highly recommend it, irrespective of what anyone else has to say. The next books that I read in April were This Poison Heart and This Wicked Fate by Kaylin Barron. Again, another duology. And guys, when I read the synopsis and when I was talking to you all about this duology in my fantasy duologies video, I actually was really intrigued by this duology, and I have to tell you, I enjoy these two books as well. I gave the first book a 3-star. Just give me some time to explain myself, whereas I gave the second book a 4-star rating. In the first book, like, I think in both books the chapters were somewhat lengthy. Even though it was somewhat fast paced at the same time, I just didn't feel like it's a book that you could finish in one sitting or in one day. The writing was really nice. I really liked the writing. It had me wanting to know more, like I couldn't stop reading it. But then when it came to book 1, I just felt, how do you say, confused. So this follows this girl who discovers she has like some elemental magic, especially revolving around plants and poisonous plants, and she's trying to see how she got this power. And then she inherits this particular land from a long lost relative who she discovers has similar powers, and they go to this land, and then it's like 70% of the book is just about she discovering different elements or different aspects of her magical abilities rather than any prominent plot point. Even though there wasn't a peak point until like 70% mark of the book, you feel intrigued, you feel hooked because you want to know what happens next. So like, I really want peak of the book at some point, right? But like, first book really had me dragging. I loved the mysterious vibe and the magical vibe and all these magical beings and all that, as well as this is like a twist or a mix of Greek mythology, so with all these Greek tales, goddesses and goddesses, but like not all the prominent Greek gods like Zeus, Poseidon, Hades that you see normally in books, but like lesser gods, and still exciting, mixed up with a secret garden but with a poisonous twist. I absolutely loved it. Again, these two books are also in a single POV from Breeze's point of view. I loved every character. Like, God, trust me, even from the evil characters to the good characters, I actually liked each character and the role they had to play in the plot. That's something I really like. But, like I said, this book was really confusing. It was like an utter puzzle to me. The more I got into the book, the more chapters I read. It just left me with more and more questions and no solid freaking answer to the questions that were there. Like even 23 chapters in, I still hadn't got any answers. But still, I was intrigued to a point where I didn't even want to give, call quits on this book. So that never came. So I never wanted to DNF it, even though it left me confusing and puzzled and having so many questions. And the twist. So the peak does come. So bear with the book, hold on to it and wait for it, because the peak does come and the twist is just amazing, and that makes you want to stick through it even to the second book. This has even more like LGBTQ characters, magic and gods and goddesses, and say when it comes to the second book, it has this piratey sirens vibe and a treasure hunt sort of thing. I absolutely loved it. Book 2 actually left me with so many emotions of friendship, betrayal, love, family, so many aspects that I love in books that makes you feel connected to books. So again, guys, y'all should pick this up. And both of these books, so like I said, even though fast paced, the first book, I thought it was a little bit draggy, that you can't finish in one day, because you are waiting for that peak that comes really towards the third quarter of the book, or like the last quarter of the book. But book 2 for sure will have you on your toes, and I finished it within a day. I just couldn't put it down, hands down. An amazing book, and therefore that's why it has a 4-star compared to the first book. And another point I saw in book 2, it's book 2, the stone of immortality that is owned by this person called Flamel. And then reading through it, Nicholas Flamel, and he having the stone comes into this story, and I'm like, wait a minute, I know Nicholas Flamel from Harry Potter. And I was so stoked about that, like some Harry Potter reference comes into another book, like even as a part of a myth, and you're like, I know about this stone. That was so fun. And again, I couldn't get enough of the Greek myths that were overlapping, interlapping, it's just a mix of so many myths that is being discussed, and I absolutely love that. I wanted more, and these also just make me want to read more of the Greek mythology retellings. It was amazing. So absolutely enjoy this duology as well, and I will recommend it to you. I won't say it was great, but I actually loved it. Again, it's YA, so depends on if you read YA or not. But definitely for people who love fantasy, I think this is a duology you should give a try. So, the last 2 books of April is The Daughter of the Pirate King and The Daughter of the Siren Queen. Again, it's a duology by Tricia Levenseller, and I gave both of these books a 3-star, guys. So the reason I picked this duology is because some of my favorite booktubers and Instagrammers have been raving about this duology for years or since I joined BookTube, I have seen them talking about this, loving this, and deeming them like fast-paced books that y'all could read within 1 weekend. Like each book would take you like less than a day. Pages wise, definitely it would. But let me start off by telling you, God, these books were not for me. It felt so short. I couldn't even believe that people that I love other recommendations from recommended these books or talk highly of these books, because I just couldn't. I am still wondering whether I would ever recommend this duology to anyone. Maybe for like younger readers or people who say this book is more YA, there were like some romance elements maybe because of that, but still those are not spicy. And I didn't even notice, like, I don't know, I didn't even care about the romance element of this book, of both these books. There was nothing that was making me want to read these books. That's where I draw the line. Like, there was no hook. I was not intrigued. Intrigued. I was even struggling to focus on the book, especially book 2 was the death of me, is what I can say. Guys, I am in a reading slump at the moment. It's May and I haven't even read a single book since I finished these 2 books. God, I was struggling with these 2 books to a point that now I'm in a reading slump, and it's not a good thing. You know, there are some reading slumps where you go into, like, you know, you love the book so much that you don't think you will ever read a better book than this, but these 2 books just gave me this reverse reading slump where you are like lost. I loved that this book had like the pirate element. Obviously, this main protagonist is a daughter of the pirate queen, king, and the siren queen. Like, so she has her magical capabilities. She can turn into, or she can conquer the siren's powers likewise, as well as she is trained by the pirate king himself, so she can fight. I loved all those fighting elements, the pirate aspects, the treasure hunts, you know, the life at sea, and all those, the pirate fights, you know, all that Pirate of the Caribbean vibe kind of stuff from these books. But the first book itself had no storyline whatsoever. For me, I felt like things were just happening. It did not have a story for me, and I just thought, okay, this happens, now that happens, the next thing happens, you know, it's just going, and okay, now the book is over and this is where book 2 starts. But I just could not, and like these 2 books I found so dull, right? I couldn't even focus to a point that I didn't even take any notes down. I just wanted to finish the books because I started, and I am not someone who likes to DNF. So far in my life, I have only DNF 2 books, but this was like, I knew I wouldn't be able to read anything after this, so I had to finish this. Like, it was to that point, and if it wasn't this piratey vibe, I think I would have DNF'd it for sure. Yeah, so I really have nothing more to say of these 2 books. If you all want, please do read it. I know some of my friends who have already read it and loved it, but guys, these 2 were just not for me. So those were all my reads of April. The 6 books I read in April, 4 which I absolutely would recommend to anyone, and 2 which I am wondering why people were so hyped about it. Anywho, I hope y'all's April reads were way better than mine, or like your April reading was more eventful than mine, and I hope that y'all have some wonderful books planned for me, because I do. Just let's see if I end up reading them. So anywho, if you like this video and my recommendations and my various thoughts on all these books that I read in April, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, as well as share this with more of your friends and family, and help me grow my hobby. As well as don't forget to subscribe to my channel, as well as click on that little bell icon so that you get notified every time I post new videos. And with promises of more videos, it's time for me to wrap up this video, and I'll see you next week. So bye. from Oh My Word, Melly.